Good morning, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Friday, June 20th. We have our system coming in. It's going to get colder for the weekend, but ahead of that, it's going to be stormy and windy today across the region. Outside of those thunderstorms, some gusts 30, 40, 45 miles an hour will be pretty common. And we've got, with the dry conditions, we've got increasing fire concerns. And we do have critical fire weather conditions today, especially across the South Hills and the Albion Mountains, and that'll be this afternoon into this evening. And like I said, next system will be with us through the weekend. Much colder weather, rain, and some higher elevation snow, mainly in the central mountains and portions of the eastern highlands. Satellite shows our low moving ashore early on this Friday. Moisture lifting north and east, mainly in the form of higher clouds. We've had some light rain, a lot of virga over the last 24 hours with some of this activity. And we'll eventually start to see in the next 24 hours or so the chance of measurable precipitation really cranking up once we get this initial push with this system out of here later on today. Our weather risk outlook: most of the area today, at least some minor impacts, but moderate to major impacts over the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, and South Hills. A lot of that has to do with the wind, even though we don't necessarily have critical fire conditions in terms of those fuels across other areas. We have seen evidence in the last 24 hours that it is not going to take much to get a fire started and for it to spread with the wind out there we're expecting today. For the weekend, we do have showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Again, snow in the higher elevations. It'll be breezy in some areas tomorrow, mainly across the Snake Plain, south and east towards the Wyoming and Utah borders. Once we get past Sunday, just a few showers and storms here and there on a daily basis, but the next 72 hours are going to be very chaotic across our area in terms of how things are going to shape up. For this afternoon, we do have some winds setting in across the area, those strong winds. Snake Plain into the central mountains, we've got some strong winds south of the Snake Plain as well. Some of those gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour, and that extends into this evening. That afternoon humidity this afternoon in many areas around 10 to 20%, especially outside of the Snake Plain, outside of the Arco Desert area as well. Some of those humidities just a little bit higher, but those will be where some of our lowest humidity will be for this afternoon. Going at those temperatures for today, we do back things off another 5 or 10 degrees from yesterday. Still 70s and 80s for our lower elevation, 65 to 70 for some of our higher mountain valleys across the area. So going back and looking how things are going to progress today, when we take a look at our forecast, what you might see if you were looking on your favorite radar app for today, where those showers and thunderstorms are going to be moving and coming from. For this morning, we have a band of light showers, sprinkles shifting east into Wyoming. Otherwise, we have a more organized area of showers and thunderstorms moving into the central mountains in portions of the Magic Valley and kind of spreading eastward today, but most of the moisture that we're going to see through tonight is going to be over the central mountains. A little secondary area shifting eastward through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. We will still see a smattering of showers across the area, but we'll start to see things picking up as we go through tomorrow afternoon. And it does look like this change we've seen in the last 24 hours, it looked like more of a consolidated low was going to head up through Montana as we go into tomorrow and over the weekend. It's actually going to move over the central mountains. Back to the rest of our forecast. For tomorrow, there are those winds across the Snake Plain into the southern and southeast highlands, the South Hills, the Albion Mountains, the eastern highlands. Some of those gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher in a couple of spots. Temperatures tomorrow, much cooler across the area. You can see Stanley in the morning is going to be 25 to 30, and some of those areas in the central mountains, that's actually going to mean what moisture falls up there tonight. Some of that higher elevation stuff. You're going to Boer, you're going to some of those places, it's probably going to be snowing a little bit for tonight. Going into tomorrow, highs in the 50s and 60s for most of the area, 40s and some 30s once you get really high up there into the central mountains. Going into Sunday, you'll notice quite a bit more snow in the forecast because that low is coming over the central mountains. That's really going to drop more precipitation there. Snow levels, we'll still see some snow in some areas down to around 6,000 feet, but not a lot. It's really when you get up into the central mountains, especially places like Bora, up towards Lemhi County into southwestern Montana. Some of those snow amounts above 9,000 feet, 6 to 12 inches higher into Lemhi County, also along the Montana border there, along there in the Beaverhead County line and the Lemhi County line. Just a smattering of light snow elsewhere over the rest of the area. And you can see the precipitation amounts, whether it's going to be snow or rain, really cranking up. Once you get out of the central mountains where we're seeing some quarter to half inch amounts, you get into Lemhi County, southwest Montana. Some of those areas seeing 1 to 2 inches of moisture with this particular system. And more than an inch, some areas will see that. Lost Trail Pass, around 60%. Some of the higher elevations, once you get further north, well above 40%. Even there around the Lost River Range, some of those probabilities hitting 30 to 50%. And that's all the way through Sunday. Now, most of this is going to be tonight, tomorrow, into Sunday. But that's kind of how things are shaping up over the next 72 hours. Going back to Sunday, temperatures, not much of a change between Saturday and Sunday, just a couple of degrees cooler here and there, or a couple of degrees warmer depending on where you are, but still 50s and 60s for valley temperatures, 30s and 40s up in the mountains. And once again, a chilly start. We'll probably see some frost freeze conditions in some of our lower elevations going into Saturday night, Sunday morning, and an even better chance Sunday night into Monday morning. In the upper part of the Snake Plain, temperatures down in a few spots, especially those rural areas down closer to freezing. Some 20s up in the higher elevations for sure. But you'll notice we start to get some drier air in here. That's going to allow us to warm up across the area. So we're going to go back up another 5 to 10 degrees going into Monday, and that trend continues going into Tuesday with just a few showers and thunderstorms in a few spots across our area. So once again, we've got some winds coming ahead of our next storm system today. We've got that outside of thunderstorms that are coming through. We've already had a few thunderstorms early on Friday here. Critical fire conditions today. The most likely area will be the South Hills and Albion Mountains. But folks down around Pocatello and a few other spots saw in the last 24 hours it's not taking much to get a fire start to spread, especially with stronger winds today versus what came on Thursday. And like I said, colder temperatures, rain and mountain snow coming our way and heading to the weekend. Summer starts supposedly at 8:42 this evening, according to the calendar. Looks like maybe the weather's not quite matching that, at least for now. Have a great day and do stay safe out there, everyone.